Imagine this. You're alone, completely, utterly alone, not another soul in sight. No windows, absolutely no escape. There's literally nothing around you but endless, sickeningly yellow walls. Right above you, fluorescent lights are buzzing with this relentless mechanical hum. And beneath your feet, the unmistakable, damp smell of old carpet. The silence in this place is so heavy, it honestly feels alive. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the architecture of existential solitude, the backrooms. Okay, let's dive right into this. To understand why this whole concept hits so incredibly deep when it comes to the human condition, we really need to trace back how it all started. So, the backrooms first popped up online back in 2019. It started with just a single strange image posted on the internet. Just those old yellow walls, the dirty carpet, and fluorescent lights, nothing else. But you know what made that image so utterly terrifying? What turned it into a massive viral sensation? It was how familiar it felt to literally everyone who saw it. It looked like a place you've seen before in a dream, or maybe a memory that you just can't quite put your finger on. And from that single image, a massive idea formed. What if reality had glitches? What if, sometimes, you could just accidentally slip out of the real world and enter a place completely outside of normal reality? Well, that place became known as the backrooms. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how you supposedly get there. According to the myth, it happens through a process called no-clipping. If you're a gamer, you know exactly what this is, right? It's when your character glitches and falls straight through the solid floor of the game map. The backrooms myth just takes that idea and applies it to real life. It suggests that our reality, well, it isn't totally solid. Just think about the visceral terror of how that actually plays out. Step 1, you just take one wrong step. Step 2, there's a strange, highly disorienting moment. And step 3, you are literally falling through reality itself. It happens in an instant. 1 second you're walking down the street, minding your own business. And the next, bam, you wake up here. You're suddenly dropped into an endless maze of empty rooms. There are absolutely no exits, no people, no sky. There is just infinite claustrophobic space and that terrifying, creeping feeling that something, somewhere, is watching you. To figure out why this is so deeply upsetting to us, we really have to look at the psychology behind the environment itself. The backrooms are essentially the ultimate example of what we call liminal spaces. These are places meant to be purely temporary. Think about hallways, empty office buildings, hotels late at night, or abandoned shopping malls. These are transitional areas, right? They're places we're only supposed to pass through. We are never, ever supposed to stay in them. And when these transitional places become completely empty, they start to feel incredibly wrong, almost dreamlike. But why is that? Well, it's because your brain is hardwired to expect life in those spaces. It expects people, movement, noise, but instead it finds absolutely nothing. And that total absence of life, it feels highly unnatural. As you stare into these empty spaces, your mind desperately keeps searching for meaning. It searches for a pattern, a purpose, but it finds absolutely none. Let's see how this builds when we look at the specific architecture of the maze, because the horror really ramps up here. The backrooms are divided into levels, and level 0 is by far the most famous. Notice those sickening yellow walls, the moist carpet, the relentless buzzing of the fluorescent lights. The endless repetition of the rooms, and absolutely zero sense of direction. We as humans are simply not built for endless isolation. I mean, imagine walking for hours, days, maybe even weeks, and every single hallway looks exactly the same. You've got no windows, no connection to the outside world, and pretty soon absolutely no proof that reality even exists anymore. So the crucial point is understanding where the real fear actually comes from. Yes, some versions of the backrooms myths throw in entities, creatures moving in the dark or things mimicking humans, but honestly, that's superficial fear. That's just the physical danger of monsters. The true horror of the backrooms, it's the emptiness. It's the total psychological collapse. When you are entirely stripped of all external stimuli, when there is literally nothing but the hum of those lights, that silence forces you to face your own mind. And for most of us, facing the unfiltered reality of our own isolated minds is absolutely terrifying. So why did this specific myth blow up and become so massively popular right now? It's because the backrooms deeply connect to the modern loneliness epidemic. There's a quote that captures this perfectly. People are constantly connected digitally, yet emotionally isolated. Millions of people today already feel entirely disconnected from actual reality. Think about the architecture of our daily lives for a second. So many of us feel completely trapped in routines. We're lost inside repetitive environments. You go to work, you go to school, you sit in your room scrolling endlessly on your phone. Day after day, loop after loop. The maze of the backrooms isn't just some spooky internet ghost story. It's actually highly symbolic of modern existence itself. It's repetition without meaning. It's that exhausting process of constantly searching for an exit, searching for a change or some kind of breakthrough that literally never appears. This concept feels so incredibly powerful and resonates with millions of people because it reflects something incredibly real about how it actually feels to live in the modern world. Deep down, we are terrified of being trapped in a loop. Now imagine being physically trapped in that loop forever. Inside the backrooms, there's no sunlight, there are no human voices, there's no nature, just artificial lights buzzing endlessly. So what happens to the human mind? Well, first, time itself loses all meaning. Hours blend together into days, and days simply disappear. Second, reality actually starts breaking apart inside your head. You begin hearing things, seeing movement just out of the corner of your eye. And finally, the absolute most devastating step. You begin questioning whether you were ever in the real world at all. You literally lose trust in your own memory. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why the mind collapses. On one side, you have our fundamental human needs. We need connection, we need meaning, and we really need a shared reality to anchor us. But on the other side, look at what the backrooms provide: total isolation, complete emptiness, and pure unreality. When you take away absolutely everything a human mind needs to orient itself, the mind doesn't just hit pause, it actively begins collapsing inward upon itself. Let's think about this philosophically for a moment. Why do we possess such a primal, instinctive fear of empty spaces? It's because emptiness reminds us of isolation, and isolation fundamentally reminds us of our own mortality. The backrooms attack something deeply, deeply psychological. It's not about the physical danger of being hunted. It is pure, distilled, existential fear. And the thing is, you know this feeling. Deep down, everyone watching this explainer has experienced moments that just feel strangely unreal. Think back to a time you walked down an empty hallway in an office building late at night. Or maybe when you were walking to your car in a massive, completely silent concrete parking garage, a place that just feels inexplicably frozen in time. For just one uncomfortable second, the reality around you felt wrong. So the next time you walk through an empty building and you suddenly feel that chill run down your spine, pay attention. Because your brain is recognizing something ancient. It's a completely instinctive fear. The terrifying fear of being totally forgotten, of being left behind, and of existing somewhere without meaning. That is the true horror of the backrooms. It's the terror of a place that simply should not exist, which leaves us with one final, deeply unsettling thought to consider. If the backrooms resonate with us because they feel so familiar, is reality itself fragile? And somewhere, just beyond the edges of normal existence, are there endless empty spaces waiting silently for someone to enter?